Wow, wife of 14 years, together 16 W2 kids has been having an affair. I found out. Now I am lost. I suppose I should give a backstory. I am M40M, she is 38F. AP is 30M. We met early 20s, we dated off and on and were friends, lovers, and BFGF. Eventually we married. We have a teenage girl 14 and young boy 8. The thing is, she's always had my heart. I think I knew early on that I loved her and wanted to be with her for the rest of my life. We shared everything. We talked about the goofiest things until we laughed to tears. We've always had the same sense of music together and attended May shows. We simply enjoyed each other's company. When our kids came into our lives, I had never been happier. We truly created some remarkable little beings. They are so damn adorable with hearts bigger than I could have ever dreamed. We have raised them so well so far. If I am most proud of anything as a couple, it's that we raised two selfless children who deeply care for one another and the world around them. I am madly in love with these two. Our marriage has had its ups and downs, that's for sure. Obviously, over this many years things can't always be amazing, that's just marriage. When we are at our highs, we are so on it, we duck and cruise. God damn it, we were like Maverick and Goose, we own life. When we were down before this affair, we always managed to talk, to find common ground, to bounce back and cruise again. We fought for each other. I suppose this is why this hurts so much. Instead of fighting for each other, she chose him. There was this guy she met, his name is Chris. They were once co-workers. She left that job and went to another, but for some reason maintained contact with him over the last year. See, when they initially met, she mentioned this co-worker. He was always just kinda mentioned offhand, in passing. Oh, Chris did this today. Yada. I remember feeling something wasn't quite right, or maybe I was just being jealous. I couldn't put my finger on it, but looking back it was a sign if there ever was one. Over the last few months, COVID has really ducked things up. I'm not blaming this on COVID, but surely it did not make things easy. During COVID I definitely battled a huge mountain of depression. I withdrew, I absolutely did. I get up every morning around 4 a.m., I work out in my gym. This has been my routine for near 2 years. Then I would take a shower and then I would work from home. Have been working from home since March all day. Afterward I would get into Discord or TeamSpeak with some friends and family I hardly ever see since COVID, and then spend the night chatting and socializing. I have always been very sociable, and I think I leaned heavily into that nightly. I put much more effort into socializing than into her. That's factual. Around this time she had a surgery on her leg that made her unable to walk for a considerable period of time. During this time her and I didn't speak as much as we should have. I helped her with her care, made her food, helped her with what she needed. But I certainly left her on her own for many days without any social interaction. They talked heavily during this time. I still don't know why I did that. I can't help but wonder if on a subconscious level I had rejected her, because at this point she had already rejected me for him. Timeline. January she left her job where he worked for a new one. They maintained contact. February things felt normal. Time was good as always. Our relationship felt great. March COVID hit. I was WFH. We leaned heavy into each other, bracing for what might come with the pandemic. April May things felt normal. We started a massive garden together. If we had to quarantine and distance, we were seemingly doing it well and together. We made great food, had cocktails, and just did things together. Sometime around here he would start asking personal questions about her relationship with me. Things like, how does he treat you? This is all she has given me in regards to that. I suspect the conversations went deeper than this one question, but she has been giving me little bits of truth here and there and a whole ton of I don't know or I don't remember. So who knows? June, July she started meeting him on her lunch breaks. It's around this time they had their first kiss. According to her, she told him this would ruin our families, to which he responded, I think I'm okay with that. I think of everything I learned, this exchange of words hit me the hardest. July, August they met more frequently on her lunch breaks. They would meet in parks, in parking lots, at her work, at his house. They massed around in his wife's bed, taking their clothes off and making each other CM. According to her, they tried to have time one time in their bed, but he couldn't get it up. This detail is something that, according to her, was a regular occurrence. And a detail of importance for later. They had time in their cars in these parking lots. During this time I was deep into depression. I would often vent to her about how off I felt. I remember sitting in the shower just staring at the walls, wondering if life would be easier for her and the kids if I was just dead. I never considered killing myself, but certainly thought it would be easier if I was gone. Early September. Her leg surgery occurs early September. She's at home for 2 weeks with her leg up and not going anywhere. They exchanged a lot of texts during this time. My depression had only grown. Feelings of being lost, like I was drowning, were daily occurrence for me. Late September. She's back to work, albeit with a cast and scooter crutch to move around. She met him at his house again, in his wife's bed. Depression was more of the same. I went hard into my workouts here. I was hitting personal records often. I bought a punching endurance post and began boxing spar training. October to mid-October. They meet in parking lots more frequently, and book a hotel room with each other. They spend an entire day together after pretending to get ready for work that day. After she leaves the room to head home, she texts me, "Phew, what a rough day, holy duck, this day hurts." That text just gutted me. At the time, I responded the way a husband would. Supporting his wife after a tough day at work. Reading back on that day now, as I do, trying to find signs I missed, just ducking sucks. I was home with our kids, working, while helping them do distance learning. A stress that is not fun, juggling a kid's education while trying to remain accountable with work. A couple times in the car she mentioned he couldn't get it up. They had also told each other they loved one another. My depression was subsiding here. I felt more confident than ever, and I knew ultimately that she was off and I needed to know WTF was going on. Late October. D-Day present. I had suspected something was up, everything was off. So early morning before my workout I snooped. I felt guilty snooping at first, but I found the affair. The fog had lifted. Only for a new one to set in. I sometimes wish I could go back before that morning to remain oblivious. Ignorance, bliss, all of that, I suppose. I found a long text history, with huge gaping gaps in discussion that was a massive flag. So I opened her Snapchat, and noticed they had a very long snap streak. Something I tried so many times to get going with her makes sense now as to why we never had that streak. Here is where I found saved pics of him, telling her he missed her, her telling him I can't wait to kiss that face, mister, etc. Nauseating stuff to find, really. The kind of stuff that makes your heart die 1,000 times in a second. I gasped for breath, and I saw red. So I confronted her. I woke her up. It was 4 a.m., I flipped the light on, gave her the phone and asked her to explain. Her first words were that she was upset that I looked through her phone. Ooh, the ducking nerve. She tells me they kissed once. That was it. It's never just one kiss, is it? After reading so much on here, I have discovered that they always give you just a tiny bit of truth, never the lot of it. I can't remember how I got her to tell me they had time. But when I finally did, she said they had time once, in a car. And they only met up a few times. I think when I showed her Google Map history that she realized I knew more than she was letting on. She started filling me in on more details. How many times they had time, as far as she's letting on that he couldn't always get it up, that he wasn't good, just different, whatever the duck that means. When I look through our phone data, I find that her average texts per month went from 500 to 4,500. On the worst day they had texted each other once every 3 minutes over 16 hours. She says most of their conversation was just random "How are you? How was your day? Hey, here's a song for you to listen to." I have hard time believing anything she says. When asked why she did it, at first she tells me that she was lonely and that she felt like I didn't value her. Now that reasoning has shifted to "I don't know, I was stupid, I got addicted and couldn't stop." To be clear, I am fine admitting that I was distant, but I have a very hard time taking blame for this. She could have talked to me at any point, raised her flag and told me we were slipping, and I would have fought with my last breath to make things right. She didn't do that though. She chose him. She fell into him. She dated him, she ducked him, They told each other they loved one another. Update Automod removed my comment. So I found out everything I needed to know at this point. But that doesn't stop the wondering, the need to dig and find details. I feel like a psychopath. I feel like I'm not myself. I feel desperate for control. Which is not like me. I'm not that person. I just want her to tell me everything I have to know. After reading so many stories like mine, the spouse, whether woman or man, always wants to know the level of deceit and details of their cheating partner's actions. I am not alone in this. These attempts to gaslight and trickle truth me are more infuriating than the actions she committed. The day I sent everything to his wife and then confronted him. I sent it all. Everything. He lied about everything. He said my wife was making it all up because she was obsessed with him, and wanted to break them up to be with him. This infuriated me. I wanted him to ducking own his actions. For days I had been wanting to approach him, to scare him, to hurt him. I found him at his work, stocking shelves. He's retail. His face was deep in a shelf, so I got right up on him. He's a small little man, pale and frail looking. "Hey Chris," Jesus, the look on his face, through his mask I could see only his eyes and the bridge of his nose. The absolute fear in him felt so empowering. I mean, I don't think I needed to do this looking back. But I'd be lying if it didn't feel great to take back something that he helped steal from me. "Why didn't you accept my Snapchat, bud? I thought we shared everything?" Watching him cower and stumble backwards, his little whimpering exhale he made as he did so was like gold to me. Jesus, that felt good. I laid into him, told him how much damage he helped cause. How it was ducked up he lied about what my wife had told me, that I had evidence proving they lied and cheated. "You're a ducking coward," I said to him. Duck, that felt good. But what he said back to me almost shocked me. "You're right. I am a coward. God damn it, how in the duck could I feel sorry for this miserable tiny person in that moment? Fuck. I actually felt sorry for him. If he hadn't said that, I would have done much more than just throw words at him. Uck. In my frustration I grabbed some of the peanut butter off the shelf he had been stocking and threw it at his feet. Then I walked away. Later I found out that just before I went in there his wife showed up at his work. She pulled him outside, made him admit to it all. She also called him a coward and then she slapped him. The justice. Hearing her tell me that day she confronted him not minutes before I did, and called him the same word I did. She told me he finally admitted it. And some of the stuff my wife told me was confirmed through him. Apparently, a couple of times he legitimately couldn't get it up. Does that make any of it better? No, it just means instead of ducking 4 or so times she told me there was intent on a couple other occasions. I learned in that moment that this man doesn't offer anything more than I do. In fact, he offers much less. I could go into all the ways I know I am better than this guy, but in the end it would just be petty and sad. I actually feel sorry for this guy. In all my frustration and hatred I feel bad for him. So, where does that leave her? I don't know. She has made a lot of changes to start out. She removed social media, deactivated and deleted accounts, she blocked his number, suggested she'd be willing to get a flip phone instead if that would help. She's okay with me checking up on her, checking her phone and messages. For now I think it's justified, however I hate that this is what I am now. The adult checking up on the child to make sure she isn't breaking the rules. Fuck, she turned me into something I am not. She took my wedding ring and put it on a necklace that she won't take off. I took the ring off during our D-Day fight and told her I no longer wanted it. This is one thing that I was happy to see her do. She did that in quiet, and kept it under her shirt for a while before I even realized she had done it. When I noticed it, I wanted to cry. Damn it, if I had any tears left I'd cry now thinking of it. She says she wants to do therapy with me. I told her we wouldn't proceed without it. Last weekend we took a trip, away just us to talk, and try to be together. I'll admit there was one day that weekend where everything melted away and I felt like I had my best friend again. When we left and came back into town it was like a black cloud instantly came back over me. All the doubts and thoughts never really left, the weekend away just hid them for a bit. I am starting to feel like she is remorseful, But I think all of the tickle truths and gaslighting have pushed back on me accepting any of that remorse. I have to wonder if she was truly remorseful, why she would continue to hide even the littlest things. As if I am some weak person that can't handle it. The S-time is mind-blowing. I feel there is a certain sense of primal need in this. To reclaim it, if that makes any sense. It's not hate S-time at all. It's very passionate, there is love there. There is sadness. But it is amazing. It's also frequent. We have had so much S-time that I think we rival even our times when we first met and had little responsibility. One thing that truly ducks me up though is that for the longest time, she and I would do mild-ass play on her. She genuinely likes it. Apparently he asked her several times for a Al, to which she says they never did. She would never let me actually put myself into her because she says I am too big. However, in all the details that have come out, she informs me he's smaller than me. Now all of a sudden, she's open to the idea of a Al's time. After years of just smaller toys and fingers and such during intercourse. Now all of a sudden she's okay with me putting myself inside of her. Maybe she gave that intimate thing to him, and is trying to make amends with me by giving it to me. Or maybe, she genuinely didn't give that to him and wants to give it to me. How can I know one way or another? This thought ducks with me so much. However, who knows how sincere this all is? Is it because she's caught? Is it because she's scared to lose our family? Scared of embarrassment? Our oldest at least wouldn't forgive her for a long time, I know. She's old enough to understand, our youngest may be just old enough to understand. Either way, they wouldn't like to hear what their mother did. Why our family was broken up. I always come back to this. They could have ended it at any point, yet they didn't. And if not for me catching her, they could be in a parking lot right now at this very moment ducking. Would they be? So for me, now I am leaving out of state for a while to work remotely from a family member's house. I need the space but fear it so much as well. I will take a long period of time to process all of this. If I want to move forward, if I think it's even worth it to try. I want to see her fight for me, but sometimes my heart gets in her way and I give her too much. Up to this point I wonder if I am letting her off easy. If I am compromising too much, and giving her cop-outs from owning what she did. Even if I was distant as a husband, even if she did feel lonely, she started this journey, not me. She chose him, not me. As far as I am concerned, she left me in the shower staring at a wall wondering if it would be easier to be dead. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, every time you feel yourself qualifying a statement as according to her, it's you admitting that you don't believe it. And you shouldn't. She absolutely, 100% lied to you about nearly everything she thought she could get away with. She will continue to do it once she thinks she can get with it again. She's gone to the handbook for the lying, blame shifting and gaslighting. She'll start making promises that you know she won't keep, and then asking why you don't trust her. Don't cry, bargain, or get emotional. Don't do the pick-me dance, it's an unwinnable game. Look into the 180, a divorce lawyer, an STD test, and just in case, a paternity test. Redditor 2, since you already read a lot on this sub, what I will tell you won't be news for you. Your marriage ended on the day she decided to cheat on you. The wife you once married walked away and never came back. Instead, there is this new woman who is capable of things your old woman never was and who doesn't care if she hurts you or the kids. She doesn't regret what she did, only that she got caught. Like you said, if you wouldn't have snooped her phone, then she would be having S-time with him right now. The trust you had for her before she cheated will never come back. She can work hard on getting your trust back, but it will never be the same. There will always be this nagging thought in the back of your mind. Is it impossible to be happy with her again? No, but it requires a ton of work and time, and even if you invest both, there is no guarantee that it will work out. Go to a lawyer and find out what your options are. Go to a doc and get tested for STDs. Tell her to do the same and show you the results. Take all the time you need to make a decision. Don't drink any alcohol or take drugs, they won't help you. You need a clear head now, more than ever. Say, how much money did she spend on that guy during their affair? I mean, renting a hotel room is not cheap. When was the last time she invested so much money, time, emotions in you? You are worth so much more than to be treated this way. Good luck and stay strong. Redditor 3, Duckman, it seems so unfair that someone would make that level of commitment just to change their mind one day to the detriment of those they supposedly love.